Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. We've got a little 6-game Tuesday night slate here for you guys this week. In this one, we are taking a look at the Hornets hosting the Brooklyn Nets, which means they have Kyrie Irving. Take a look at some of the best bets in this one. Nate does have his great article up on playpicks.com with some best bets and player props in there for you as well. And make sure to like and subscribe to that page, as we got a couple other videos up for you today, including that player props video that we are at 500 on the week. We'll look to go climb above that with you guys. Make sure you are on thelines.com, checking out that odds checker and our props tool to make sure you're finding the best odds available out there for you. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight. Nate, let's jump into it.
Yeah, we got the Nets opening around -2.5 and climbing up to -4.5 at Charlotte. Now we're around 3 points in terms of the spread. The total has been bet down from 241 to 239. I would maybe expect it to drop a little bit more with Kevin Durant back in the lineup. The Nets can actually play defense now. Yeah. 5 other games here on Tuesday. We got the Suns without Paul, Booker, and Cam Johnson in Orlando. So they're only -5.5. We got the Cavs -3 at Indiana with a 223 total. We will break that game down for you in a separate video. The premier matchup to watch tonight is the Pelicans +6 at the Grizzlies. Intriguing rematch there between two red hot teams. I mean, the Pelicans especially. And Fuego, and the Bucks -13 at Thunder. And then we have the Clippers +5.5 at the Warriors, who basically resting their whole core last night, lost in Denver. Not sure who's going to play there. We do know Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving will be playing in Charlotte tonight, and they've only had that duo back for 2 games now. It happened to come against the 2 best defenses in the NBA right now in Miami and Boston. So, I mean, off the bat, I'm saying this is the turnaround point for the Nets. I mean, maybe not an extended turnaround, but at least in their minds, they got to get this win. They got to build a little momentum and confidence ahead of going to Philly on Thursday. Yeah. They have Kyrie in 3 of their next 4 games on the road here. They can beat the Knicks at home despite Julius Randle's heroic performance last night. Josh, congratulations on that comeback.
Thank you.
But yeah, we know about the Nets having lost 17 of 20 now, went 5-17 without KD, 1 game below 500 at this point, and firmly in the play-in game, the exact same record as Charlotte. Both these teams happen to have bad records against teams above 500. Charlotte is 11-24 against teams with winning records. I'm still considering the Nets as a winning team when they have Kevin Durant out there. Sure. And I mean, that's really the key is now their numbers are skewed for the entire season because they went over in 8 of their last 10 games before KD came back. They lost 9 of their last 11 before he came back. But with him, they're 13-4 on the road this season. They're still, before he went down, they were going under more consistently on the road. Still 23-18 to the under when favored. Still 24-17 straight up when favored. Durant just demolished this team on his own in October, 38 points on 17 for 24 shooting. Harden loafed his way to 8 assists and 8 turnovers with 15 points, and so the Nets lost there. There's a lot more chemistry and fight to this team with Kyrie playing alongside him instead of Harden, as we know. And the Hornets, I mean, they've come out of the All-Star break pretty strong in terms of 7th best net rating, 8th best defensive rating. I mean, the key is their improvement on defense, really, over the last couple months. They've gone under. They were going under in a very consistent stretch there.
Yeah.
But at home, even more so, while losing 8 of their last 10, they've gone under in 7 of those with just a 107 offensive rating. So it's really more about their offensive struggles than their defense in terms of keeping games under. And the way Brooklyn improves defensively with Durant, that's why we're seeing a little action on that under. Yeah. Their defensive rating is 7.5 points better per 100 possessions with Durant. There's going to be a lot more fight to the team. Now you're going to see more lineups that can focus on defense with guys like Bruce Brown, James Johnson, who almost can't play offense, but it doesn't matter when you just have KD and Kyrie creating on their own. So I like, I don't think you need to tease this spread to get Brooklyn, to erase the 3 or 4 points for Brooklyn. But I like doing that just to get the under a little bit higher and get your even money here. And the last thing I'll say about that kind of money line action is FanDuel's offering some ridiculous player performance doubles. 20 points for Kevin Durant in a win at just under minus 110, or 25 in a win at plus 108. The Nets getting the Lakers treatment at this point that we don't believe they can win a game. Kevin Durant can sleepwalk to 20 points, so you can basically get the money line at what you want there at FanDuel with those bonuses.
Yeah, but however you want to bet this, I think we're just finding ways to bet on Brooklyn. We don't think that there's going to be a ton of points. Sitting at with the total sitting at, what's it at now? 223, 225 and a half. Where did I see that?
The total for this is at 239, all the way up there.
I'm looking at the wrong one. 239. Yeah. Lovely. Wonderful. Yeah. I think we're looking at what Charlotte does at home, and we're looking at what, Brooklyn does on the road. I think some things are skewed. I think your points about, not necessarily just looking at, we don't have sample sizes to work with at this point. All we have is the difference between this team when they have Kevin Durant and honestly Kyrie at the same time on the floor versus not. And really, it's more important for me is what you mentioned about KD on defense and the fact that they are that much better. That's what we talked about right when he went out was, okay, well, let's just go ahead and start smacking some overs for this team, especially when they're on the road and they have Kyrie, which means more offense and less defense. And KD means a lot less defense and a good amount less offense. But the impact is felt much more on the defensive end with KD not playing and the lack of sort of, resources behind him to defend. Brooklyn, as of late, even, in their last 6 road games, they're still covering, 4 of those 6 road games with a push in there as well. So, as long as they have Kyrie, they have been at least somewhat formidable against bad teams. And now you've got, both of them back on the floor against what I'm considering at this point a bad team in Charlotte. Both these teams obviously reeling, but the key here is just the different. The Charlotte doesn't have anything coming back to them right now, the way that KD just came back for the Nets, right? 6-11 without Gordon Hayward. We expect their slide to continue without him, as he's just proven to be too crucial to what they do. And we're really not looking at them as anybody that we're worried about even, potentially making a play-in game and beating a better team. I think at this point, it's pretty much clear that you really might not want the 1 or 2 seed in the East because Brooklyn's coming for it. And I agree with you that this is the beginning of their turnaround. It's tough that they're going on the road to play the 76ers after the Hornets. And there's obviously the potential for a letdown game, but we both know, and as well as KD knows, there's no time for letdowns when you've lost 17 of your last 20 games. If they hadn't built such a nice lead at the beginning, this team would be in huge jeopardy of not making the playoffs. KD knows that. The only fear for me is what happens to him when he gets to the playoffs, and he's probably tired from dragging this team into it. So I think this is a game where they will win this game. I would say it would be a lot more likely that it's a blowout if they didn't have the looming matchup against the 76ers coming up next. But obviously, if you look at their matchups after that, other than the Mavs and their next roughly 6 games, the Mavs and and the Heat, I'm not really too worried about them. Any of the other teams they have coming up, as they're playing a lot of the weaker teams in the East, the Hornets again, the Pistons, the Blazers, the Magic, the Knicks. So I think that there's going to be some opportunity for them to start rolling. I think this is a game where I love the KD bet of 20 plus and a W, but I also think we're still seeing Kyrie needing to prove himself and really expending all of his energy on in games that he's actually playing because he knows he's got big rest minutes coming up when he's not allowed to play at home. So that's why I think you can go either way. In terms of KD or Kyrie, if you wanted to find some player performance doubles. But I don't think there's any harm in just taking this 3-point spread. And honestly, I don't think you need to tease anything. I think you just hit under 240 at this point, 239 and a half or so. That's absurd for what I think, Brooklyn does on the road when KD is in the game. So I think this is definitely an opportunity for us to just hit a little parlay, if you like. I don't really even need the money line. I'll just take the juice of a 3-point spread under 240 and feel like, Vegas got this a little bit wrong, and I can probably get about plus 257 back on my money there.
Yeah, because Charlotte started the year playing at this blinding pace and scoring the most and allowing the most, but they've They slowed it down to 14th in pace out of the All-Star break. That's been a little bit of the reason for success for them, going 3-2 in their last 5 home games. They're 2-3 with a 107 defensive rating, and they're shooting just 30% from deep. Again, their offensive struggles. Brooklyn has the 6th best 3-point defense on the road on the season. They allow the 10th fewest paint points. Where they struggle is usually giving up free throws. Charlotte scores the 3rd lowest percentage of free throws at home. They don't really have that, slicing and dicing guy with Gordon Hayward still out, which we haven't mentioned. They're 6-11 without Hayward. They're now 3-13 against the spread in their last 16 against teams in playoff position. Whereas Brooklyn, as you mentioned, plenty to prove here. You mentioned both the big guys, Kyrie and KD, getting theirs tonight. There are some intriguing specials at DraftKings, including both of them to score 30, where you can get really big plus odds on some of those. And it's kind of a similar situation we saw with Philly last night, where they might take over half of their team shots the way Harden and Embiid did, because it's very much a your turn, my turn out of necessity. With KD and Kyrie, that's what they've got right now. It's really all they've got. And they're 2 guys that Charlotte's not going to have any answers for on the defensive end, really. Yeah,
exactly. And you look at who scores against Charlotte, and it's basically the same sort of prototype of player. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo. Carmelo has averaged about 25 against them in 2 matchups this season. AD as well had a 32-point blowout. KD 38. Even guys like Danilo Gallinari 27 points a game. Tobias Harris 30. So what I'm getting at here is guys who are 6'10" and above and can shoot or are named Giannis Antetokounmpo are going to cause problems for these Hornets as they give up a ton of points to power forwards, centers, and small forwards. They're a little bit better against guards with guys like Miles Bridges becoming a matchup problem when he takes on your best perimeter player, and they've got some ability to defend out there, but everything else is just a problem for them. I think KD is going to get his against his team historically. He's going to continue to do that, and I still think that Brooklyn is able to put the clamps on Charlotte a little bit more, who's going to continue to be pulling those threes to get their points, which is exactly where Brooklyn is able to play D the best. So that is all the time we have for you in this one. I think we're just both really excited that we finally get to talk about Kevin Durant playing basketball again. So make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Check out those other couple videos we have for you on this 6-game Tuesday night slate. And until we see you next, happy betting.